of refugees, the influx of refugees into our country. Now, Uganda is quite obviously a country that has received neighbors in distress for a very long time. We are known world over for being, hospitable to those who are in distress. You may recall right from the troubles in Rwanda in the 1950s, many Banyarwanda fled into Uganda. Whole communities of Rwanda fled into Uganda. And the people of Uganda received them and hosted them. And many have even been integrated and become part of us. There were similar troubles in the Congo, the Belgian Congo, in the early 60s. And many Congolese again fled into Uganda. And we received them, hosted them, cared for them. And indeed some Congolese have become Ugandans. There are many Congolese, even now, here in Mubende. Very many Congolese there. Some of these temples you hear, they are Congolese. Yes. So some are ministers here, some are what? These are Congolese, In northern Uganda, again, in the early 60s, you remember the Anyanya rebellion in Sudan. Anyanya 1, Anyanya 2. Many people fled from the Sudan into Uganda. And we welcomed them, we educated them, we nurtured them. Many became Ugandans, Sudanese. These Oneks. Onek is a Sudanese. His family is still in Sudan. Moses Ari is a prime minister. So, that is Uganda for you. Our people are hospitable, receptive to all our brothers and sisters who are in distress. We recognize that they are our brothers and sisters. These borders were in any case artificial. It's the same communities. The Kakwa in Uganda are the same Kakwa in Sudan. The Luo, Ugandan Luo here, are the same Luo in Sudan. The Banyarwanda in Uganda are the same Banyarwanda in Rwanda. The tribes at the Congolese border. I come from Kigezi myself. Before cutting up all these districts, my district was bordering Congo. And I know some of our people who were in my district, whose gardens were always in Congo. Up to now, during the day they go to Congo to dig, their homes in Uganda. They are the same communities, So I am happy that our citizens have been receptive of neighbors who are distressed. Now we have a crisis, however, that we have numbers of refugees flocking into our country in unprecedented proportions, and especially from the southern Sudan. About 3,000 refugees have been arriving every day for the last, I think, 6 months or so. Every day. The refugee camp in this one, Bidibidi, is now the largest in the world, having, I think, more than 600,000 people there. Uganda now is the second largest refugee holding country, I think next to Turkey. So there is now a very serious situation. The difference, however, between the situation we have now and previous situations is that the refugees that are flocking into our country are running away from situations in which Uganda has been involved. Uganda is a cause of the refugee situation that we have. That is the difference between what is happening now and what we have suffered in the past. We were not responsible for the Banyarwanda who crossed from Rwanda to Uganda. We were not responsible for the Belgian violence in Congo that led to these temples coming. We were not, part of the violence of the Anyanyas when there was violence in Sudan and the Anyanyas, the Sudanese ran away from the Anyanya rebellion to come to Uganda. Hey, the difference is that we are very active in the Sudan, precipitating the problem that is driving away Sudanese into Uganda. As you know, our troops have been in Sudan. Huge numbers of our troops have been in Sudan fighting on one side of a civil war. A civil war is a domestic matter. If Nuers are fighting Dinkas, or if forces of Dr. Riek Machar are fighting forces of President Kiir, that is their internal political situation. Now, if we go in to fight on one side or the other, then we are a problem. Unfortunately, that's what we have been, a problem in southern Sudan. In fact, so much so that, as you know, Ugandans have been killed there who went there to do business. Border riders, people trading in matoke and the things, they have been killed because of the activities of our own troops in southern Sudan. You know that Congo, our troops invaded Congo unprovoked. Not only invaded Congo, looted. We looted Congo. And there is a report of the United Nations on this looting. A case was filed against Uganda in the International Court of Justice for invading Congo and looting it. We were found guilty by the International Court of Justice and sentenced to pay Congo $10 billion. $10 billion from the aggression of Mr. Museveni and his junta. We have also been interfering in other countries, in Burundi, in Rwanda, where we are interfering. So the crisis in our country today, the refugee crisis in our country today, is a crisis in which the NRM regime, the Museveni junta, has played a key role in generating. We are the arsonists of the region. Regrettably, however, of late, I've heard Mr. Museveni confusing the international community, posturing as a champion of refugees. In fact, soon, I understand there is to be a refugee conference in Uganda, in which the Secretary General of the United Nations and other people are going to come here to see how to help the refugees in Uganda. Mr. Museveni is presenting himself as a partner of solving the problem that he is primarily guilty of creating. Now, quite obviously, I hail our citizens for their hospitality, and I implore Ugandans to continue with the spirit of hosting those in distress. Our people in northern Uganda should not be tired of helping these people who are suffering. Everywhere, we should be humane. We should know that we may need the same kind of, succor when problems are here. And indeed, some of us have lived in other countries, running away from Uganda. So I commend and implore our citizens to continue being receptive and hospitable. This crisis is extremely big, and the international community, therefore, needs to step in a big way to support the people who are in distress. The Refugee Agency, the UN Refugee Agency, the humanitarian bodies around the world, I think they should all come in force to help these refugees. But in helping these refugees, the international community must be very clear in how they deal with the Ugandan regime. They should be clear to treat the NRM junta as the arsonists, not the ones who are extinguishing the fire. They should be condemned. They should be isolated. And that is what will discourage other arsonists in the region. Support to the people who are distressed should, as much as possible, go directly to the refugees through the agencies that are concerned. Not support them through the offenders. any support that is not going directly to the refugees, which is going to the communities, because communities need support also. The hosting communities need support to have more schools, to have more health facilities, to have more water sources and so on. This kind of support should be given in collaboration with the local governments, with the local communities, not with the junta. So we hope and really pray that the Secretary General of the United Nations, the UN Refugee Agency, will not insult the refugees who are suffering, and certainly the people of Uganda who have been hosting, shouldering this burden by coming to masquerade with arsonists as their partners in this matter. Lastly, on this point, extremely important and urgent that regional leaders step up the effort to make sure that the people of Southern Sudan can have meaningful dialogue to end the conflict that is consuming that country. And meaningful dialogue means that all parties to the conflict are brought to the table for that dialogue. There has been an unfortunate, I think, situation of, again, regional leaders taking sides in the conflict. I think all parties to the conflict must be treated as important, must be treated with the care and delicate handling that the situation demands. Indeed, it may be fitting at this stage for the regional and international community to consider stepping in and providing some kind of security while such a dialogue process, so that there is some kind of truce, some kind of peace in that area of the world.